Check it out, boys and girls. I'm doing a sexy time over here. Look, you might not see it, but there's me on another camera. I find it quite stimulating. I don't know what's going on. I don't really give a fuck. I'm not here for the lulz. I'm here to bear the worst news possible. Just found out. I just tested positive. For being on the right, bra. I was about to say something else. Jesus Christ, man. I gotta shut my fucking mouth sometimes. It's nice to see y'all. I'm trying to do more content. I have trouble coming up with topics because when I used to do this, I would come out with outlines. But when you read a script, it's not even a script, it's just a fucking outline. But even if you read a fucking outline, or if you go by an outline, it's kind of like you're going by a script. I find that when you're going off any kind of piece of paper, it just doesn't flow. And I'm not the kind of guy that flows anyway. I'm pretty shitty with flow. I mean, have you seen my other fucking videos? And I'm not trying to make this a whole meta conversation or monologue about, how I work my process or whatever. But it's I'm trying to find my niche in this little spot here. And I feel like I'm doing an okay job. I'm trying different things. I'm trying different methods for sound. I kind of want to do some reacts eventually, but I want them to make sense within the context of the channel and what it represents. Now, people look at the name of the channel, The Right Power Podcast, and they automatically assume that I'm a far right guy, like I'm alt right or something like that, because they don't know me, they don't know my sense of humor. It is a play on white power, obviously, but that's my sense of humor. It's cheeky. For those that know me, they know me as basically, I'm not even as a conservative. I got a lot of conservative. My ideology is fairly moderate. There's some things that I'm rather liberal on socially, but overall, once the Overton window shifted, and anything right of Stalin became fucking Hitler and far, fascist. Basically, you might as well consider me the far right. And it's kind of sad, but that's where we're at. And the people that actually believe that, this isn't made for them. This kind of content is made for people who can laugh at them, who might want a little information. I generally come with when I come with information, when I come with bullet points or whatever, generally I don't come across very articulate. And that's not a fluke. That's not by design. It's basically, as soon as I see that piece of paper, or when it's not flowing within me, like it's just like somebody who has learning disabilities in school, right? That needs special attention because they're just not visual learners, or they're more. I'm a hands-on learner. I'm a hands-on guy. And I'm a knockaround guy too. I became a knockaround guy throughout life. I've been in a lot of fights. I've gotten hurt a lot of times. I'm one of those guys. I'm a punk rock metal guy. I don't give a fuck. I'm the kind of guy that used to hang out with people that used to carve Slayer in their arms. We used to fucking put out cigarettes. We used to do a cigarette game where you put the cigarette, on your fucking in between each other's arms, see who would flinch first. We used to play. There's a game it's not really a game. But what we used to do, I remember I used to go to this bar called Katie's, and there was me and one other guy. Every time we saw each other, we would knock each other. We'd give each other right crosses in the face. That was our greeting. And I remember I don't know how it started, but every time I saw him, be like, hey, Jeff. And I'd just be like, fucking just like, and it would be like a nice flat one before I lost my knuckle. Everybody sees that? The knuckle is gone. See? No knuckle. Before I lost that knuckle, hold on. I gave him like a nice, like just flat fisted, like right there. And, but it would be nice and hard. And he'd do it back to me. We never jab each other in the face or nothing like that. That's how we greeted each other. We did it. We didn't do full power punches. We did 50 to 70% power, enough to fucking jar you a little bit. And then, sometimes we did it at a point where maybe we shouldn't. We'd be like, oh, bro, I'm sorry, fucking, because we're a bunch of fucking ridiculous fucks. But the truth is, we do that. I remember another friend of mine. His name is Chris. We're still friends this day. He's like, it's the first time he ever saw it, and we're at the bar, right? He saw me and Jeff doing it. So he goes, do it to me. Now Chris is like, I'm about 5'11" and some change. At that time, I was probably near 6, maybe a little taller than 6 feet. As you get old, you shrink. All right, you shrink. Anyway, Chris, if I was standing up, Chris comes to about my clavicle, maybe my neck, maybe my shoulder. I don't know. I'm like, you sure? He's like, yeah, do it to me. So I did it to him, like 30% power, and I knocked him out, and he crumbled like a little. And it's just like, which brings me to the point. There are people that are built harder than others. Shit. I remember on my birthday, I got a buddy named Joel. On my birthday, he threw a birthday party for me. And this motherfucker, I don't know what it was. I don't know if I took mushrooms or something or just smoked some weed. I did something. It was something natural, and it might have been a hallucinogen. But there were like about 20 to 30 people over there. And I two-pieced him in the face. And because he goes, oh, it hit me, Rob, because he liked to do it too. And Joel is a big motherfucker. He was about 6'1", weighs about 280 pounds. I think it was 280 at the time, or 260 or something like that. So this motherfucker, I gave him a little two-piece, flat on this motherfucker, fucking straight up jabs me in the fucking right in the fucking nose. And I'm like, I look up because I'm like fucking starting to see red. I'm like, I can't believe that motherfucker just did this to me. So the whole party just, the record scratch, everything stops, right? And everybody's looking at both of us. Like it's silent. And he's smiling because he knows how I am. And then a little bit of blood. I'm like looking like I'm hearing, because when it doesn't matter if it's playful, hard hitting, or what. As a man, when you get hit and jarred, you're going to feel some type of way, especially when it's outside the rules of what you have already set. So anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm hearing like in my ear, and I'm looking at him like he's a target at this point, and a little bit of blood comes out of my nostril, and as soon as it hits my lip and drips past down my butt chin, I smiled and I gave him a hug, and the whole party just went back. Like, it was like a fun little thing. Like, see, people who don't live like that, who don't, especially women, don't understand this. But even guys were like, why are they barbaric? Why are they so? What is this barbarism? If you were in a scene like metal, punk rock, I mean, you're in fights all the time. You're fucking. You're always going to have some kind of friction with somebody, you know what I mean? I gave him a hug. And then I remember the next day, I looked in the mirror. Now my eye was a little black under here, and it was slightly swollen. But my nose, which had been when I got into a fight a long time ago, and it broke my nose crooked. He had broke my nose back straight. So I called him up and I thanked him for it. Now, the reason I'm telling you this stupid story is to basically give you an example of what kind of person I am and where I come from. All right. I am a counterculture guy. I was a street kid. Grew up like I was. I mean, it's not like I was. It's not like I came from nothing. My parents were middle class. We were at one point. We were actually relatively doing well. You know, growing up. I remember growing up and living in my father had built us a house on the Intracoastal that was like 4 fucking stories with counting the pylons or the piers, whatever they call it, because it was near the water. You have to put it on piers just for flooding. But we finished out the garage anyway, and I helped them with the house. But it's not like I came from nothing. But I moved out when I was 17 because I wanted to do whatever I wanted, and I didn't want to listen to my parents. I thought they were lame. I thought everything was lame. I was like, I want to go to shows. I want to go see bands play. I want to fucking stay out all night, blah, blah. So, after a while, they try to kick me out. And, then, so I just stayed on. And then, they let me back in. They wanted me to see a psychologist for normal fucking rebellious teenage behavior. Eventually, they just gave up, and they're like, well, as long as he keeps coming home alive. So I basically moved out at 17 and couched it, friends' houses and shit like that. I didn't have any classes left in my senior year, so it wasn't a big deal. My parents went through a divorce, which was fine. So they weren't even around. They didn't even bother trading. They were involved in their own thing, So I don't blame my parents for anything. They did the best they could to bring me up, but I was an ornery son of a bitch, and it took me forever to learn things. So, in that respect, I mean, dealing with now the type of person that I was, the kind of guy that had to go through it to learn on his own, and now in retrospect, looking behind, hindsight's always 20/20. Hindsight is always 20/20. But looking back, still a bit fuzzy. Megadeth. But looking back in hindsight, I can say that, yeah, a lot of the shit my parents said was right. But I had to find out for my own. Now, how does this, what does this have to do with the theme of this podcast? Well, I look at it and juxtapose it next to leftism. And I'm not talking about liberalism, I'm talking about leftism. When I say libtard, I mean leftist. I mean, I'm a classical liberal. As hard as that sounds, it can sound to stomach, or it's true. Most of my shit is what I believe are classical liberal ideas. It's all the policies. I thought Bill Clinton did a great fucking job. I mean, besides, the shit that came after and what is alleged now, I mean, fuck. But, nobody, why nobody gave a shit about Clinton fucking getting, sticking a fucking cigar in a fucking 20 some odd year old fucking intern's twat and getting sucked off in the Oval Office. You know why I didn't care about that? Because there was a relative prosperity under Clinton. I mean, Clinton was like the type of guy that you seem like the type of guy you go party with. They called him Bubba. He played the fucking saxophone. And I remember, and I was young, but I remember during that, they're trying to impeach him for the for the blowjob. I forgot what kind of gate it was called. It was a gate. They put gate at the end of everything now. Um, Even like Gamergate. But with Clinton, you know what? People didn't, were less. It didn't bother them that much because they could see, they could feel it. They could feel it in their wallets and whatnot. You know, and I was young. I was young then. I couldn't even tell you how old I was around that presidency. That was so long ago. But they were like, gives a fuck if you got a blowjob. You know what? The whole thing about having to be perfect in the political sphere and watching your language, I mean, all that shit's out the window. And we know that now. But back then, I mean, anything would have been, now you got guys like Eric Swalwell fucking farting in the middle of fucking, whatever. Fucking Donald Trump says fucking and fuck like I do. Like he probably swears like a fucking sailor when he's not around any cameras because he's a New York guy and for me, for being from New York, he acts like somebody that could be in my family, especially since he's a construction guy. There's parts of him he had to deal. You got to think about Donald Trump real quick. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but this guy built the skyline of New York back in a time when New York was the most crime-ridden, the city was so crime-ridden. I mean, a lot of people, there's people now that, the kids that are alive now, they're old enough to even drink. They don't know what New York was. New York was a fucking hellhole. It was fucking like, and so was LA. Well, LA is still there. I mean, but it was like, compared to now, like, fucking put New York, it was basically like fucking Bosnia. Bosnia's bad. It's basically like living in Afghanistan over there. You walked in the wrong neighborhood, you would get stabbed immediately. It was very tribal, probably still tribal now. But he built that. And at a time when the mafia, the five families were running New York, were running everything. I mean, he had to deal with Gambinos and shit. He had to deal with a lot of shit. I don't, it's not, you had to deal with the Teamsters. So he's going to have this attitude because he grew up with those guys. He had to pay off fucking people and all kinds of shit, especially when those guys ran that shit around then. So, I know a lot of people say, hey, he acts like a fake tough guy. Well, not really. He had to deal with some fucking pretty bad people. And and this is how he talks. You don't have to be perfect. That's why Bill Clinton wasn't perfect. It humanized him. Because us guys, we think, oh, well, because when I was young, I didn't think fucking, what was her name? Not Marla Maples, fucking the lady that sucked off Clinton, the intern. It's at the tip of my tongue. Put it in the comments. I didn't think she was hot at the time, but looking back, I was like, yeah, she was good looking. She was that next girl next door, very conventionally pretty, and whatever, So guys look at it like, his wife's a cunt. She looks like she's a fucking cunt, which she she is a cunt. Hillary Clinton's a cunt, people. But so they're like, they can almost identify with it. They're like, oh, men mess up, you see, like, most powerful man in the world at the time, she was probably flirty. There's probably some kind of like, thing in her head. And then, so guys could kind of like identify, and they exonerated him. I think he was exonerated. Black people thought, they used to call him the first black president. We got, they're like fucking, it's like Bill Clinton, that's the first black president right now, I'll tell you. On God. Obviously, I don't do a good black. I probably could do better. But then I'd have to invoke, nuclear. The nuclear option, everyone. Yes. Bigly. But yeah, as all this pertains to my podcast, uh, I just want, I don't want to get it twisted. I want people to come here and get a little bit of information, have fun, watch me stumble over my words like a fucking retard. You know, I'm not retarded. I'm actually, I don't want to be, I don't want to do the Reddit, I am smart. But multiple IQ tests, I'm in the upper 130s. Um, I have, I have issue expressing myself. Um, when I was younger, I was a brilliant kid, but I wanted to be popular, and I wanted to get girlfriends, and I wanted to have friends. I wanted to be the class clown. So I went from, you know, learning coding and teaching myself about microprocessors and computing and, like, basically, learning, fucking, like, learning electrical engineering and computer engineering by the time I was like 11. Um, to eating acid and going to fucking, like, frat parties and shit, and just being like an overall, crust punk kind of fucker. And well, skate punk. My big thing was skate punk and metal. Once my father introduced me to Black Sabbath, boy, it was over. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to do. Change my life. So that was my father's fault. But yeah, the Right Power podcast. This is kind of like a work in progress, and it's just going to get better. I'm going to find ways to make it better. I'm probably not going to use scripts or outlines. I will take some information and try to memorize it. But if you notice, like, I'm not stuttering my ass off right now, and that's because this is something that's coming right out of my personal life. It's very easy to express myself when it's my own experiences. It's fucking difficult when I'm trying to express an idea that it's just hard. It's just harder for me. But I'm sure part of it is watching, part of the enjoyment, if any, if you get any. I'm not trying to fucking toot any horns. I've got 40 subscribers, and thank all 40 of you. By the way, bless your fucking hearts. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to all who subscribed. You guys are the best. And I wish I could, maybe eventually, if I get more, I'm going to write down all your fucking names. And if I ever get some merch, once I hit like 100 or something, if I don't quit before then, I'll make sure you guys get something special. Like some shirts or mug or something. Or I have my wife make some mugs. I'll tell that bitch to make some fucking mugs. Be like, woman, get in there. Get on the cricket. Mug time. We're straight to the gulag with her. I just hope you guys get something out of this, all right? Well, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. Now I got to mix this one together, and there's 2 cameras. So there's going to be 2 points of view. I got to convert the phone video, because it's VFR, it's variable frame rate, and I can't turn it off. Somehow the action camera is fixed frame rate. So they're both at 60 frames a second recording right now. The one I'm pointing to right now, this one is at 4K. And this one, since it sets fucking, the file sizes are huge. So this one, I think it's a higher bit rate. So this one, the Brave 7LE, is at 1440p. And I took off the fisheye lens, so we're not going to have that. Well, anyway, if you watch this, thank you for watching all the way through. First 40 subscribers, I love you. I'm going to actually fucking find out who the fuck you are, write it down. So if I hit 100, if I fucking can get if I could squeeze anything out of this, I want you guys to have the ground floor guys to be on it. I'm not even going to start. This is not a money thing, by the way. This is just me venting my frustrations with the system and watching the Democratic Party fucking just turn and get infiltrated by socialists. It's not the same party. That's why I really don't put fault on my friends who wanted to vote Democrat, like because they always think it's the party of caring and the working class and empathy and all that. I mean, they used to. If you growing up, the Democrats and the Republicans they were not far away from each other. They were like, if this is the center, right? If this is the center, Democrats and Republicans, right? Center, right around here. Now they're here. In fact, actually, I don't know which way is right on here, so I'm going to use my right. Here's the center. Here's the Republicans. Here's the Democrats, right? That's where they were. Center. Here's the Democrats now. Because they're not the Democrats. They have been infiltrated. And you don't have to believe me. I think a lot of you already seen it. Anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate all y'all for whoever watches this. Please, if you can, subscribe if I've entertained you at all, or at least leave a like, please. You don't have to do anything. Leave a comment if you'd like. If you hated it, thank you for watching this song. Leave a death threat. I love death threats. I don't even mind fucking. You could fucking hit me up personally, and we can go and we can meet up and let's see who can kick whose ass. All right, guys, have a great day. And go fuck yourself.
Before I grow, try shining. When I grow, on a strike, no backing down. We might refuse. Run it down, rush to take you.